I just sensed that there could be something in my family history that would be disappointing.
Negative.
Negative, yes. I thought I was gonna have that kind of moment. And Skip had asked me to do it for a long time, and I finally decided to do it because I thought it'd be helpful for my children.
Joy Behar never saw it coming. One moment, she was confidently delivering her sharp commentary on The View, and the next, she was standing at the center of an unexpected storm. The atmosphere in the studio shifted dramatically as Sunny Hostin, a longtime co-host and passionate advocate for racial justice, dropped a bombshell. With a single cryptic remark, Sunny cast a shadow over Joy, suggesting her humor and pointed commentary had crossed a line. The accusation implied that Joy's words had, in some way, played a part in igniting Melania Trump's $100 million lawsuit against the network. The tension was palpable. You could feel it in the room, even if you weren't there. The audience sat frozen, the weight of the moment sinking in. Joy, who had weathered her fair share of controversy, stared in disbelief, her usual composure beginning to crack. But was she really being blamed for something so monumental? She shot back, her voice calm, but with an unmistakable fire beneath it. Are you actually suggesting that I'm to blame for this lawsuit? The entire studio seemed to hold its breath, waiting for Sunny's response. And when it came, it wasn't a retreat. Instead, Sunny doubled down. I'm saying some narratives were pushed relentlessly, she said, her words hanging heavily in the air. You could see the internal conflict in Sunny's eyes as the tension in the room reached its peak. This was no ordinary back and forth. This wasn't just another debate. This was a moment that would reverberate far beyond the studio walls. And guess what? This was just the beginning. Things were about to get a lot more complicated, but the drama didn't end there. Sunny Hostin, who had built her career as a fierce advocate for racial justice and social change, found herself facing an entirely new kind of reckoning. While viewers admired her unwavering stance on accountability, everything was about to change when a shocking revelation came to light during her appearance on PBS's Finding Your Roots. The show, known for revealing the often uncomfortable truths of celebrities' family histories, uncovered something that left Sunny reeling. Her third great-grandfather had been a slaveholder. Imagine the gravity of that moment for someone who spent years calling for justice and accountability, especially regarding systemic racism. It was a blow that no one could have predicted. Not even Sunny herself. The shock on her face was visible. For someone who had spent so much time confronting the uncomfortable truths of history, this revelation was deeply personal. But here's the twist. Rather than confronting this truth with the same boldness she demanded of others, Sunny downplayed the discovery. She referred to it as a product of its time, brushing it off as something that didn't define her or her values. That decision sent shockwaves. How could someone so vocal about historical injustices simply dismiss a direct link to slavery in her own family's past? The backlash was swift. Critics were quick to call out what they saw as hypocrisy. Was Sunny not holding herself accountable for her own family's sins, just as she had done with others? But it doesn't end there, because as this was unfolding, another storm was brewing. As if the personal crisis wasn't enough, the public was about to witness something even more intense. While Sunny was facing criticism for her reaction to her family's troubling history, Melania Trump was preparing for a lawsuit that would put the entire View team under fire. The lawsuit, which claimed defamatory statements and damaging remarks, was being pursued with a $100 million price tag. But here's the twist. This lawsuit was not just about Melania's reputation. It had a much larger impact, drawing The View and its hosts into the crossfire. Greg Gutfeld, already known for his vocal criticisms of Sunny, wasted no time capitalizing on the situation. He cleverly connected the dots between Sunny's refusal to fully address her family's history and the legal battle that was now threatening The View. While Melania was actively trying to protect her reputation, Sunny, it seemed, was trying to avoid facing her own uncomfortable truth. The narrative was set, and it was devastating for everyone involved. This wasn't just a celebrity feud or another on-air disagreement. It had the potential to escalate into something much bigger. Producers behind the scenes at ABC were starting to get nervous. The tension was building, and it was clear that this controversy could spiral out of control. But as things got worse, Sunny made a mistake that would pull Joy right into the heart of the storm. Things were about to get even more intense. As the pressure mounted from the media, the audience, and even her colleagues, Sunny Hostin made a crucial error that would draw her co-host, Joy Behar, directly into the fire. Frustrated by the ongoing backlash, Sunny hinted on live television that Joy's on-air jokes and commentary might have crossed a line. She didn't say it outright, but the implication was clear. Sunny was subtly suggesting that some of Joy's biting humor had contributed to the narrative that led to Melania Trump's $100 million lawsuit. The studio went silent. You could hear a pin drop. It wasn't just another heated exchange. This was something far more personal. Joy's face instantly shifted from her usual playful demeanor to one of steely resolve. Are you seriously suggesting that my commentary is the reason we're dealing with this lawsuit? She demanded, her voice calm but with an undeniable sharpness. Sunny hesitated, clearly rattled before doubling down. I'm saying some narratives were pushed relentlessly, she replied, visibly conflicted but resolute. The audience could feel the electricity in the air. What started as a lighthearted conversation on The View had morphed into a high-stakes confrontation with far-reaching consequences. Sunny, a woman who had built her career on exposing injustice, now found herself in a position where she had to defend her own actions. The tension was unbearable. But wait, it gets worse. This moment was just the beginning of a much deeper conflict that would unravel in front of millions. The tension in the studio was palpable, and the fallout from this exchange was immediate and explosive. Joy Behar, always quick to defend her own integrity, wasn't about to let this slip by. As the confrontation continued, Joy pressed Sunny further, demanding answers. Why am I being dragged into a lawsuit that has nothing to do with me? She asked, her words cutting through the charged silence. She couldn't understand how something as trivial as her jokes could be linked to a multi-million-dollar legal battle. This was no longer just a playful disagreement between co-hosts. It was a battle for reputations, a test of integrity, and a challenge that would define both of their careers. Sunny, visibly rattled, remained silent for a moment. She was no longer the confident, composed woman who had once been a steadfast advocate for justice. Now she was facing a live television moment that could either cement her credibility or shatter it entirely. The audience, still in shock, watched as Sunny struggled to respond. She had always been the one to hold others accountable for their actions, but now the tables had turned, and she found herself under the microscope. The confrontation was now taking on a life of its own, rippling through the View's audience and beyond. Social media was ablaze with opinions and reactions. Some praised Joy for standing her ground, while others criticized Sunny for what they saw as hypocrisy. This wasn't just a heated moment between two women on a talk show, it had become a full-blown public spectacle. But this wasn't the end of it. The internet was just warming up, and what happened next would change everything for both of them. As the confrontation on The View continued to dominate the studio, the real chaos was happening online. The internet, as it always does, took this moment and amplified it to new heights. Social media platforms became a battleground, with viral posts dissecting every word, every pause, every shift in Sunny and Joy's demeanor. Hashtags questioning Sunny's integrity quickly began trending as users across the globe weighed in on the drama. Memes mocking both Sunny's downplaying of her family's history and the tension between her and Joy flooded timelines, turning the incident into a spectacle that seemed to have no end. But what was even more dangerous for Sunny was the backlash from her loyal supporters. They had always looked up to her as an unwavering figure in the fight for racial justice, someone who held others accountable. But now those same supporters were left feeling betrayed. How could someone who spent years challenging others to confront their past so easily brush off her own family's dark history? The question was on everyone's mind, and it sent shockwaves through her fan base. Critics and former supporters alike took to Twitter, Instagram, and other platforms to express their disappointment and frustration. For many, this wasn't just a misstep. It was a betrayal of everything Sunny had stood for. Sunny was now facing a full-blown character crisis, and it wasn't just about her family's past anymore. It was about her credibility, her principles, and her position on The View. The internet was relentless, and as every new post, tweet, and meme emerged, the pressure mounted on Sunny to address the fallout head-on. But that wasn't the worst part. The true consequences of this confrontation would soon come to light, and they would affect The View and everyone involved. As the internet continued to buzz with criticism, the consequences of this explosive moment on The View were beginning to unfold in ways no one could have predicted. Behind the scenes, producers were scrambling, unsure of how to handle the aftermath. The studio, once a place for lighthearted banter and discussions, had now turned into a war zone. Tensions ran high between the co-hosts, and the weight of the ongoing legal drama involving Melania Trump loomed over everything. It was clear that this wasn't just a minor disagreement, it was a crisis that could change the course of The View. Advertisers who had once been a steady presence on the show were beginning to pull back, nervous about the mounting controversies surrounding the hosts. The stakes had never been higher. Sunny Hostin, who had always prided herself on being a voice for justice and accountability, was now being forced to defend her own actions. Joy Behar, for her part, had become a fierce protector of her own integrity, unwilling to let anyone, especially her co-host, drag her into a legal battle she had no part in. The dynamic on The View had irrevocably shifted. What began as a simple talk show had now become the epicenter of a media storm, one that would go down in television history. Sunny's reputation was hanging in the balance, and with each passing day, the pressure mounted. As for Joy, she had proven that she wasn't afraid to speak her mind, even when it meant challenging a close colleague. In the end, this moment on The View would change everything for both women. The storm that had begun with a single remark had spiraled out of control, and the fallout was far from over. But as the dust settled, one thing was clear. This confrontation was just the beginning of a new chapter for The View, and for Sunny and Joy, it would never be the same again.